This pageant is the reason why I say communicating in English is such an essential skill when you compete at a pageant. Hi guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Nikita Tanwani, former Femina Miss India state winner and now a pageant coach and a content creator. We just witnessed the first successful edition of Miss Cosmo International, the new pageant that everybody's been talking about. Indonesia became the first country to get the title of Miss Cosmo 2024, and I'm super excited to see her reign and the legacy that she leaves and creates for the coming editions of the pageant, on which if we pay close attention, there are so many lessons that we can learn from this experience and mistakes not to make when you're competing in a pageant. So let's get into it. At the first edition of Miss Cosmo, we saw the top 5 have a Q&A segment, followed by a very interesting and unexpected debate between the top 2 candidates. I love this new format that Miss Cosmo followed, and I actually hope to see similar debates happen at other competitions as well, because it really truly measured who was the most deserving of the title. They also had a very esteemed jury panel, including Paula Shogart and ex-Miss Universe Harnaz Kaur Sandhu. And unlike other beauty competitions, Miss Cosmo actually gave its top 5 contestants a total of 60 seconds to answer the questions instead of the usual 30, which I think definitely gives them more of an opportunity to make an impact and be able to actually finish their sentences. The first question was given to Indonesia, and the question was, Miss Cosmo is a beauty pageant that not only emphasizes intellect and beauty, but also a queen that acts sustainably. What is your contribution to the sustainable society? Indonesia had a solid, impactful, and convincing answer. She refers to her past pageant titles, which shows the credibility and the experience that she brings to the platform, that she knows, 1, how to be a spokesperson, and 2, that this advocacy and cause that she's speaking about is not entirely new. In fact, she has been working on it for quite some time now. I love the part where she mentions that it's not just about providing economic opportunity to local artisans, but also instilling pride. And I feel like that is a very long-term effect that you can have on a certain section of society, which then kind of trickles down that impact into the coming generations as well, because that's how you can truly preserve your culture, when you actually care about it, when it actually matters. And so I always say that it's important to have 1, impact, and 2, an inspiring answer. And Indonesia managed to balance those 2 aspects of an answer very beautifully in this answer. Towards the end, the answer did get slightly repetitive, and I would have wanted to polish up that answer by not emphasizing so much of Balinese and Indonesia, because in a lot of situations I have seen that you have to look forward to the platform that you're now going to be representing and not stick so much to your own country and regionality alone, because the objective of this title is to be able to address the global stage and not just the Indonesian people. But in this case, it sounded like a lot of passion and conviction. In this case, I think Indonesia managed to get around the rough edges of that answer, considering she did end up winning the crown. If you are ever faced with a similar question, what you have to keep in mind is that it is absolutely imperative that you talk about your past work already done that has contributed to the sustainability in the society. In this case, Indonesia is already a tourism activist, and so that's what she brought into her answer. The next question was asked to Peru, and the question was, how would you use technology to drive impactful beauty? And this question was pretty predictable, because also the motto of the Miss Cosmo pageant is impactful beauty. And so each and every contestant is already expected to have an answer to this kind of question, because you have to align with the organization's values and, more importantly, their motto.
The rainforest for my country.
Honestly, I feel really bad for Peru, because I feel like you've put in so much hard work. You've gotten into the top 5 of the competition, and here, I don't think what she was trying to say was communicated to the judges at all. 1, there did seem to be so much of confusion with the translator, and even the translator seemed to be struggling with the translation. And to top it off, how is anyone supposed to measure the 60-second answer if the translation is happening in the middle of the answer. And the host does go on to say, after she completed answering, that now you would have to finish your entire answer and the translation would be done at the end. I don't know for what reason this was not communicated properly to the contestants during rehearsals, but what I will suggest any contestant to take away, and I've noticed this in every competition, even Miss Universe, where translators have been used, and although we've had successful beauty queens who used translators, in my opinion and advice, I don't suggest anyone to rely on a translator. If you are going to an international competition and you kind of have a hunch that that might not be the most appropriate approach, if your translator cannot communicate what you're trying to deliver, you might as well take matters into your own hands. And so here Peru did mention something about rainforests, but more or less, that's all, at least as an audience, I was able to take away from the answer. I'm not really sure where she was getting with that. And also, we never really heard anything that connected back to technology or even impactful beauty. The first thought that comes to my mind when I hear this question is there's a very easy correlation that any contestant can make between the usage of technology inside their advocacy. And that would have been a great way to answer this question. Of course, when we look at impactful beauty, the motto of the competition, we do have to understand that from pageant perspective, the impact is more important than the beauty. And now, how are you utilizing technology to create impact, whether that's in the case of environmental conservation or sustainability or even any other advocacy project that you might have? Peru could have utilized this question to talk about herself and her advocacy, like most onstage questions are supposed to be utilized, and that would have been such a more fulfilling answer. Because so many of us have been able to utilize technology to impart knowledge and education and raise awareness. The fact that you can see this video right now is because of technology, and so I'm creating impact through technology via YouTube. And so we could have talked about the importance of social media, or it could have been about bringing back electricity to remote villages perhaps. And there could be 1,000 ways to have answered this question. I'm not sure what really happened here, but I am interested to know how technology was being used in rainforest conservation. The next question was asked to Thailand, and I have to say Thailand looked so confident and so at ease on stage while coming to answer this question, which was, if you win tonight, you'll be the first Miss Cosmo International and you have a big role in defining this brand. What do you want the legacy of Miss Cosmo to be? I love this question so much. You can go anywhere with this question and create so much impact. It's all about you, basically.
As the first Miss Cosmo 2024, I am absolutely honored to have that title. However, it is very important to use that and use the platform wisely. For example, in this year, we have so many activities related to the local communication. Like for me, myself, I work closely with the local farmer back in my hometown. We always think to move things big in the future, but actually it starts within ourselves. So it is very important to know that the change starts within you. Take the initiative to change, and remember that legacy is all the matter of the first step, just like the first year of Miss Cosmo. Thank you very much. ขอบคุณค่ะซิกา
That answer was such a beautiful answer, and even the delivery was just so heart-touching. Thailand chose to focus on taking small steps and the importance of taking initiative than rather trying to look at the larger picture and trying to accomplish something big. While it's important to have the vision, what's more important is that you have taken that first step, and that's the legacy she wants to leave behind as the first Miss Cosmo. And she also brings it back towards the end very smartly, where she says, just like the first year of Miss Cosmo. So the brand is also just has taken its first baby step, and so both the title holder and the organization have a lot to look forward to in the future, and they're both kind of co-creating this legacy of the brand. Now, Thailand was able to give this answer because it relates to what she has been working on in her country. I have another idea. If I had to answer the question in a similar manner, my legacy is to inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and to become more. And so as the first Miss Cosmo 2024, I aim to be a trailblazer that opens up doors and creates opportunities for not just myself and those after me, but also allow those after me to create a legacy of their own. The next question was for Miss USA, and her question was, what initiatives would you champion to create a safer environment for the LGBTQ plus youth who face discrimination? USA had a great and strong start to the answer, where she referenced being bullied back in school because of being unusually tall in the crowd. And while I liked the engagement and storytelling where that was leading to, towards the end, I don't think the answer was as convincing as we would have hoped for it to be, because while she did address the topic, what was lacking is the initiatives. If she had only added a simple 1 or 2 sentences more where she talks about, let's say, diversity and inclusivity, and she could have used the quote that says, diversity is being invited to the party and inclusivity is being asked to dance. Something along those lines would have really fit well into this question, and I feel like if USA had added that, she probably could have been in top 2, but it was just a half empty answer of sorts in this question, and so that's what probably held her back. The last and 5th contestant to come up was Vietnam, and her question was, should someone be successful in order to be impactful? Now, in the case of Vietnam, again, there was a lot of delay in getting the translator, and I will say the translator at Miss Cosmo was not doing a very good job, so they should probably replace that person and really figure out this whole translation issue at the next edition. Vietnam eventually kind of gave up on the translator and said that I'm just gonna answer in English. And I wish she was more fluent in the English language, because her answer was a little choppy and honestly just very difficult to make sense of for me personally. She talks about how people have to work hard in order to succeed and in order to aspire others, and she would love to work for several charitable organizations. While what she said was beautiful, but it didn't resonate with, did she really answer the question in a yes or no way? I didn't really quite catch that in her answer. And something that I would advise any pageant contestant to use while answering this question is, if you look at success or impact, there's a famous quote that I have utilized often, also working with my coaching clients, where we kind of did discuss a question which was, what are your opinions on Kylie Jenner being listed as a self-made billionaire? And that question kind of is similar to this one, because it requires you to redefine success and how much of success relies on where you come from. So the quote is, success is not measured by what you have accomplished, but rather by how much have you accomplished with what you already have. And so I think if a similar quote or this one could have been used by Vietnam, and she could have refocus the attention on what success even means. And so no matter the magnitude of your impact, even if you have changed one life, you are successful, and nobody needs to wait to be successful in order to be impactful. Another thing I want to point out during Vietnam's delivery is aura, and in not a way that I've seen is admired at pageants, and also with the finger pointing while answering is just something to be more mindful of when it comes to your body language and hand gestures. And so that's something that if you have that tendency, make sure not to do that on stage. After the top 5 Q&A, we had the top 2 contestants, Indonesia and Thailand, go head to head with one another and speak about their advocacy projects on impactful beauty. Now, Indonesia spoke about how she is looking to reduce and recycle plastic waste, whereas Thailand had a more focused project on soil conservation. And you can go watch the final show to see what exactly the format was, where they also got to question one another. I think having a look at that debate, Indonesia was a clear standout winner, not just because of what her project was, but I think it was quite strategic that they allowed contestants to question each other, because the kind of questions you ask also showcase how good of a listener you are and the kind of curiosity that you have for another's project. And I love that Indonesia did mention that I would, one, love to be a part of your action plan. And since Thailand's project was more about raising awareness, she did ask, what is the actual action plan besides raising awareness? On the other hand, Thailand's question was more about questioning the profitability aspect of Indonesia's project. And so I think for me, it was such a clear choice as to who's going to be taking away the crown. And as a pageant aspirant watching this show, you should also note that, one, it's all right if your advocacy project makes money. And at the same time, if your project is solely relying on raising awareness, this, then maybe it's time you dig deep, look into some actionable items for you to do. When questioned about the exact efforts and action plan to move ahead, you could sense the lack of strong foundation in another one's project. And so those are my thoughts and suggestions on the Q&A segment of Miss Cosmo International 2024. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned something new from watching this review of this competition. Let me know in the comments what other pageant you would love for me to review. And if you haven't checked out my Miss Universe India Q&A review already, then don't forget to go give that a watch. As always, I love you guys so much, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye!